Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. Right now on our screen, we have a couple of poll questions that we're trying to get some answers from our participants on this webinar to see if you have used some of our business services through Illinois WorkNet and what type of business you have for attending the webinar today. If at any time you have problems hearing via your computer speakers, you are welcome to dial into our conference call number. It is 866-803-3878, and then mute your computer speakers. If you have not already taken the chance to download the handout, it is the slides from today's presentation, and it has the links in it that we are using for the webinar. So if you want to download that, it will open up to a new window, so please make sure that you come back to the webinar. All right, we're going to give you just another moment on the poll questions just to see if you have used any of our services. And hopefully everybody's having a great day where they are. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time today. And if you're watching this on the recording, thanks for taking the time to watch it on the recording. All right, let's take a look at our question or at our presentation. So today we're going to be talking about branding your business with social media. And building your brand is important and should carry through to all aspects of your marketing. And as we say that, if you've got one look for one platform and another look for another platform, you need to look at trying to make sure that everything coordinates all together. If you're sending out a message on print, it needs to be the same kind of message on social. So let's get started with our presentation. What I would like for you to do is let me know by a raise of hand with the little man at the top of the screen, how many of you recognize all 8 of these icons that are on the screen? All right, so we don't have, everybody doesn't recognize everything. So let's go through a little bit and tell you what they are. The number 1. Who can tell me what the number 1 icon is on this screen? It is the number 1 icon, most recognizable icon of all time. Type it into the chat pod. Well, you're close, Ricardo, but you're not right. Oh, no. The number 1 is the Nike Swish. And yes, Sean got it right. Maybe he was typing at the same time I was saying it, but it is the Nike Swish. So we have the Michelin Tire Man, the Coca-Cola bottle, Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, the Nike Swish, Apple, Target, and Mercedes. And if you want to take a look at the article where I got this list, it is listed there on the bottom of the screen. So let's go on to the next slide. Now, why do you want to use social media? And we talked about marketing with social media in another webinar that we've done, and I've got that link posted on the bottom of that slide. So again, if you downloaded your handouts, you will have access to that link without having to search too hard. But one of the reasons why you want to use social media is because it levels the playing field. Social media is social media is social media, and everyone who markets, big or small, has access to the same platforms. They may have more money to spend on advertising, but they have the same ability to use the tools no matter who they are. You at the local pizza joint on the corner of a little town in southern Illinois, or the big corporations that have millions and millions of dollars to spend. What social media does for your business is it helps you build brand awareness, it helps you provide thought leadership, it helps you get some sales or lead generation, and it helps you provide customer support or advocacy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the brand awareness, since that's exactly what we're talking about on our webinar today. One of the first things that you want to do is you want to pick which platforms are better for your business. And all of these were referenced in the other webinar that's on that slide that we just looked at. So we have a description of which one is better for your business, whether you're B2B or B2C. But in general, what you want to do is, if you are a business-to-business entity, and you deal specifically with other businesses, you would want to lean toward a few of the platforms where a business that deals specifically with consumers, like the pizza place, you may want to deal with other ones. And what the previous webinar discusses is which ones are better for which type of business. So you want to pick which platforms are going to work best for you. Then what we want to do is, to build that brand awareness, we want to have some consistency. And we're going to talk about how we can build that consistency for our brand, whether we're big or small. How you can be consistent. And as you can see on the screen, we've got a couple of words. We've got color, font, imagery, and templates. And I'm showing you a part of the graphics style guide for Illinois WorkNet. And what this does is it talks about what colors that you should use for promoting Illinois WorkNet. And one of the things that is also included in this style guide is the fonts that you should use and the style of images that you might want to use. So for example, the color for the home page on Illinois WorkNet is this burnt orange type color, and it has a CMYK version, which is when you use the 4-color printing. It has an RGB version, which is the screen images that show up on when you're looking at your computer monitor, and it has the PMS color that you would use if you are printing a document through a printer. So when you go through the trouble of creating a style guide, you want to make sure that you're providing this information for everybody so that your look and feel, no matter where your product is being displayed or where your brand is being displayed, is going to be consistent with all the rest of them. The imagery that you use. Now, do you use certain images? Is that your go-to image? Is there a style to the image that you might want to review? I do have a link in our resources on one of the last pages of the presentation that talks a little bit more about each of these 4 items. Maybe your images are black and white, or maybe they're brilliant full color, or maybe they are subdued and you use that 1970s look that you can get when you're using something like Instagram. So you want to pick out what you want to use and how you want it to look. Then if you are posting images on a regular basis, or if you're posting memes on a regular basis, maybe you want to create a template for everybody who's working at your business to make it easier for them to post something so that it remains consistent and puts out the same visual same visual look that you have across all the other platforms, print and mail and everything else, so that it all looks the same. So let's take a look here. This is from our Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. It is the look that they have, and as you can see, everything is relatively identical. The website has the State of Illinois seal, and that's what they're using for their icons on all of these platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then the header image that they have used is virtually the same thing, so that if somebody is falling upon the location in Twitter or Facebook, they'll recognize it and they'll see that it looks the same everywhere else. So that's one way that you can go about doing this. The one thing that you do want to do is to make sure that you take into consideration the size parameters of the different platforms, because Facebook might be 800, I believe it's 800 by, 851 by 315, where Twitter's header is 1500 by 500. So if you're going to make your image, just resize it so that it lays out the right way for the particular platform. The Twitter header here for the DCEO is a little off. It's cut off the director's picture just because they tried to upload an image. So we want to make sure that your sizes are correct for all of the different platforms. And you can find tools and guides online to help you with those image sizes. Oh, and Chelsea just put one in. We think so much alike, Chelsea. That's so wonderful. Now, what we have here, this is Disney. And I stumbled upon this and I thought, oh, this is really cute. So what we notice here is it's similar, but it's different. Who knows what the ongoing theme across this? What's the one consistent item that's in here? And if you want to type it into the chat pod, you can do that. I'll give you a clue. Oh, wait, Sean's typing. I'm not going to go there first. Mickey Mouse, right. Now, what do you see? You see Mickey in all of the icons. It's either his thumb, the thumbs up, or his image on the icons. So you see something similar, or his face or the ears. It's staying the same, but it's different. And if you notice, they have the same image for Twitter and Facebook, but they're sized appropriately to fit into the header space. And then it's sized differently for YouTube versus Google+. One of the things that when you enter these images, you want to make sure that you are looking at it and then testing it. It's real simple just to change it when you're ready to go. So let's talk a little bit more about making sure that you are sharing the same information. And first of all, we talked about how the imagery needs to remain the same. Now we want to talk about what is your voice going to be. What's your message, and what's the frequency that you want to use? Let's talk a little bit about the voice. How will you say what you say? First and foremost, you need to find out or determine, are you going to talk in I did this or we did this? Even if you are a solopreneur or a sole proprietor, you might want to talk in the we voice just because you may have support. You may have power partners or other entities that support what you do, so that when you are talking, it sounds like you're a bigger entity than you really are. One of the other things that you want to consider is, are you going to use humor on a regular basis, or are you going to maintain a little bit more serious tone? Are you going to use that voice consistently across all of the platforms, or are you going to say use humor on Twitter or on Facebook, but you're going to remain serious on LinkedIn? The other thing that you need to consider is, are you going to have multiple representatives who will be carrying out messages at either different times of the day or at different days of the week? Or are you going to have different people posting on different platforms? So what are you saying, and is there a place where you can go that will help you learn how to share the right information if you do have those multiple representatives? Is there going to be something in your style guide about the way that you want to share your messages? Now the question becomes, what will you say? What is your message? And here we want to talk a little bit about this number that's at the top of the list. It's 70-20-10. And that's something that I've learned over the years. Some people might say 80-20, but what it boils down to is 70% of the messages that you share need to be content related to your industry, but it needs to be content that is not yours. 20% of the time, it needs to be content that you have created that will drive people back to your website. Perhaps it's your blog, or perhaps it is just posts that you actually make, that you create. It's information about your business that is information sharing. It's building that awareness of your brand or your industry. And then 10% of the time, you want the information to be promotional. Now that might change a little bit if you've got a big, huge fundraising event. I noticed that there were a couple of people in the audience that work for a not-for-profit. So if you have your big event, your one big fundraising event that's coming up for the year, you might switch your postings to maybe 30, 40, 30, so that you're getting the information out as reminders to your followers that the event is coming up and that you want to make sure everybody gets the news. So in general, though, you want to maintain this 70-20-10. One of the things that you can consider using is schedule. Are you going to be on vacation? Is your office very busy, and maybe Monday mornings is a little bit slow time for one of the people in the office? And is it something that that person can sit down and actually schedule posts for the rest of the week or into the next week? Are you going to be closed for inventory and you won't be able to concentrate on posting? Maybe you have something coming up that you want to, there's a special day out there that's going to be your industry's big day. Like the other day, it was just library sign-up day. It was last month, and a local library was posting several times during the course of the month. Maybe they scheduled those posts, and maybe they had it in a content plan for that month. Kitschy items. Maybe it becomes your thing to do a weekly biz bit where it has nothing to do with the industry that you are in, but it's something to do with running your business. Maybe you are a seasonal business and your off time of the year, you want to start posting things that are useful for your type of business. And then last but not least, you want to be able to post things that will cause engagement with the people in your audience. Look at your insights and make sure that whatever it is that you are posting is actually drawing engagement. And right now, I don't know if you've noticed, here, raise your hand if you do. If you're on Facebook, do you watch those little 2-minute videos that pop up? Do you spend time watching those little videos? Raise your hand. All right, so one of you does. When somebody sends out a little video, if they're cute and if it looks like something that I might be interested in, I'll watch those videos. So watching what gets through on your Facebook feed is indicative of what you might need to be posting on your business pages. And please, please, please make sure that you are using a business page to promote your business on all of the platforms rather than using a personal profile to promote your business. Now the important question becomes, when will you say it? How many days of the week are you going to post? How many times during the day are you going to post? Now this becomes important depending upon who is in your audience. If you have an audience, let me go back to the library for an example. The library has an adult reader audience. They have a teen audience that they're trying to reach, and they have a young reader audience that they're trying to reach. My suggestion to this library would be that they post multiple times every day of the week and post those items geared toward the audience that they're trying to reach. So for example, if they're trying to reach the young readers, they might want to post so that the mothers would see it after they've dropped kids off at school and before they need to go help at the lunchroom or go pick them up after school. So it might be late morning, early afternoon. Again, if you've got a special event coming up, you might want to post more frequently to be able to get to that audience that you want to reach. The number of days and the time of day can be selected based on what you're seeing in your insights. And try posting at different times of the day until you find that niche where you get the most engagement. There's all kinds of articles out there that will tell you when is the best time to post, but it really depends on your audience. If you've got an early rising audience and maybe you are a lunch place, a lunch restaurant, you might want to post what your lunch special of the day is by 7:30 in the morning. And if it's something that you're not there until 9:30, then maybe you need to use a scheduler to help you get that posted and plan in advance. Now the quantity throughout the day, we just mentioned that maybe once a day is sufficient if you are a B2B business. If you are a B2C business, again, it's going to depend upon what your audience is and where they're doing, what they're doing. Now I've got the word repurpose on the page here. Can you create a post that will help you when you can't find anything else to post? Now this might be useful if you are let's say that you are a business that deals strictly with other businesses and you're a consultant and you offer a particular service or services. Maybe you prepare a post about that service so that you can just pop it in between other posts. Maybe you can't find any content that's valuable to be able to share, so you can just pop in a post about a service that you provide. So that's one of those things that you can do with a repurpose. And additionally, if you write an article for your blog, you can post that on Facebook, have it then go to Twitter. If you have included an image like you're supposed to do, you can pin it to Pinterest. From Pinterest, it can go out through Twitter. And then maybe while you're at an event that maybe you have written about, you take a picture and it posts to Facebook from your business page. If that image shows up on Facebook, you can use another tool called If This Then That and have it post automatically to a Flickr account. Make sure that you're posting to Google Plus so that if you have a map location out there, that it goes. So when you post one item, one blog item can be used periodically over the course of a week or maybe 3 or 4 days on all of these different platforms, and it saves you time and energy. Go back and post an oldie but goodie. If you've got a newsletter that goes out, use older information in your newsletter to help you share more content down the road. So that's one way that you can increase your frequency as well, by sharing some of that older information content that is on your website. Okay, now we've got social media in the palm of your hand. What can it help you with? It can help you with networking, so that when you are maybe going to an event, you share that you're going to be attending the event or that you're at the event. And it may show other people that you're out and about building your network and building your brand and making news for yourself as you're moving forward. It can help you with reputation management. One of the things that I notice on a regular basis is reviews on sites like Facebook, Yelp, and Google. Bing also provides reviews. So if you're not paying attention to those reviews, people may be getting news about your business that you don't necessarily want them to get. So managing your reputation through social media, making sure that your brand is represented properly, will help you use social media as the tool it was designed to be. Customer service. Customer service is one of the key uses of social media these days, and representing your brand. One of the things that we talked about with social media policy in one of our previous webinars is Zappos has a policy that wants people to just be who they are and represent themselves honestly, to do the right thing. So when they're dealing with customer service, they've empowered their people to handle a situation through that social media. Remember, if you are a 24/7 business, you want to make sure that somebody is manning your customer service 24 hours a day. If you happen to give them a holiday or give them the day off for a special reason, make sure that you get an auto message out. If you are a 9-to-5 business and you are only there Monday through Friday, if you are checking your social media first thing in the morning, maybe at lunchtime, and then maybe later in the afternoon, you should be able to address any customer service issues that come in a very timely fashion. Next, we want to think about thought leadership. When you're using social media, and especially if you're posting an item on a blog, you are sharing your thought leadership and you are becoming an expert in your field and being able to get that information out there and have people look at your social media and say, oh, this person really knows what they're talking about in their industry. I need to contact them because I need help in that particular industry. So make sure that what you're sharing provides value and lives within your brand guidelines. Last but not least, we want to talk about community. If you can get your followers on all of your social media platforms to be your brand ambassadors, it is getting advertising and public relations out without having to spend any money. So if you can build your community, maybe you create a group on one of the platforms, or you start using things like hashtags so that people feel that community and build the information around it. It will help you make sure that you're using social media in the best way possible. What it all boils down to is consistency. Now, I've got the picture of the falling leaves. only because it's a consistent coverage. You see it, you see a little bit of variation, but you see the consistent coverage of what's happening and the same color, the same look and feel. Make sure that you are being consistent with everything that you are doing. If you start one project, make sure that you follow through. If only you can do one platform at a time, get good at that. Be consistent with it, and then add as you can. Add as you feel comfortable. But remember, whatever you do, make it be consistent. Now we've got a list of resources. We've got a couple of webinars at the top that we've already done that you can reference for your own benefit. And there are also a couple of the items that we talked about in this webinar earlier. We've got all of the articles that I used as resource that you might want to review to help you make any decisions that you need to make. And always, we hope that you will join us on upcoming webinars. Please follow us on our social media. Find us on all of these platforms. And if you have any questions about social media or any other item with Illinois WorkNet, please send us an email at info@illinoisworknet.com. We want to thank the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, for sponsoring us. And before you all leave us today, I would like to ask you a question here. What would you post to promote your brand? And you can fill this in as you're going. We're going back to talking about the what would you post? What will you say? What are some things that you might want to post that you could use on a regular basis? And please feel free to type in the little pod at the top, and it will share information with the rest of us. Somebody might get an idea of what they could post from what you could type. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to move this over. I'm going to go to our closing polls, and I'm going to add this up at the top so that you can continue answering. Again, thank you very much for joining us today. Please complete the poll questions, and as you are doing that, I am going to end our recording, but Chelsea and I will be in the chat or available to help you with any questions that you might have to ask us in the chat pod. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, I know what I forgot. I'm going to add a few links here. These are a few places that you can go to on Illinois WorkNet to help promote your brand. They are I'll talk about them as soon as I get them all posted here. And we've got a couple of spots here. We've got our featured employers page. It is something that you can put your business on, especially if you're hiring, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. We also have the events. So if you've got an event coming up at your place, whether it's a hiring event or maybe it's an expo, or maybe you're going to be in a food truck challenge, share the event on our calendar. If you have a success story with some of your customers that have maybe come through Illinois WorkNet, you can share that information on our success story page. And maybe you've worked with Illinois WorkNet in the past, and there's a news or an update that we can help you with. It is information. For example, we worked with an organization earlier this year about volunteering and workforce. So we had a news item that went out about that. So investigate all of these opportunities. Check with local chambers of commerce. Check with other local organizations where you might be able to partner with different entities to help cross-share information or support each other using social media. All right, we've got a couple of what would you post to promote your brand. We've got superior level of knowledge and skills for technical assistance. Success stories with your customers. That's a great one. A series of scheduled visuals. That's good. Great, great, great. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Again, I hope you picked up a nugget or two and look forward to sharing with you in the future. Watch for our upcoming webinars. Have a great rest of your day.